G'day, Goldson back with another video today talking about gold sinks. What are they, why are they necessary, and how it can relate to the real world. Gold sinks are a method to take gold out of the economy so that the inflation doesn't inflate too much to where everything becomes more expensive. Gold sinks are necessary to any economy where the issuance of a currency is constantly minted. In our case, we'll be mostly talking about where does the gold come from within World of Warcraft. So for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Goldson and I'm on a mission towards obtaining 100 million gold. Every Tuesday I release a weekly recap video showcasing how much gold I made, how I made it, and what goals I will set for the upcoming week. My gold making journey is not for your average goblin, but if you want to see and keep an eye on me, you're more than welcome to do so. Alright, gold sinks. You probably have heard of them before. You might know what it refers to, and you might not, which is totally okay. It isn't something they teach us in WoW school, but nonetheless, I'm here to hopefully shed some light onto what I personally know about gold sinks and how it affects the game. I want to start with why I'm making this video. Since playing WoW around a month before Shadowlands until now, I noticed a trend. It wasn't noticeable at the time, but over time the trend became obvious to me, and that trend was during Shadowlands. The prices of the legendaries were super expensive. Prices in general were quite expensive. I didn't think much of it. I just thought, oh, that's just the way it is. In Dragonflight, there weren't so many items with such a hefty price tag in comparison to Shadowlands, and now playing the War Within beta, I can feel that trend continuing where items will be even more cheaper overall. Okay, so what do I mean? In the real world, when central banks print more money for the economy, this is called QE, or quantitative easing. It is a technical term to describe money printing, but at the same time it is also done to stimulate the economy. It makes people do things, etc. And when the central banks want to reverse it, it is called QT, or quantitative tightening, which is the complete opposite of QE. To put it another way, they turn on the water tap and start to fill up a bath, and before the bathtub overflows, they either stop the tap or they pull the plug to let water out. So it's a constant rebalancing act to manage the economy. This also is happening within World of Warcraft. This is the trend I've noticed. Right now we are experiencing a QT type scenario with gold sinks, but more on that later. Meow. This QT trend I'm keeping a very close eye on. I believe that over time gold will become harder and harder to obtain. In Shadowlands, for example, we had mission tables which essentially acted like money printers. They introduced a lot of free gold into the market, and at the same time the botters were also farming mobs, introducing more raw gold into the game. Effectively, gold is introduced into the economy mostly from NPC mobs dying, and then when looted, the raw gold is created out of thin air, then moved into the economy, thus increasing the total gold supply. If the game developers never put in gold sinks that remove gold from the economy, then inflation would kick in and the price of things simply would go up. This is what happened in Shadowlands. There was so much gold in the economy and there were not many means to remove it. Alright, so in Dragonflight I noticed that there was not any mission tables, and the most effective way to earn raw gold over the whole expansion was dragon racing, which gave on average around 500 gold. Also, sometimes certain world quests, when given the perfect conditions, would net you a lot of raw gold as well. But all in all, I noticed a severe lack of income, and a lot of people were forced to buy the game token for their gold, as it was much easier economically speaking. I suspect it will be the same in the War Within, but as goblins / business minded players, we tend to take the opportunity to which others do not see and provide as much value to the marketplace as we can. This is capitalism. But we are here talking about gold sinks, so let me get back to that. So, gold sinks in the game consist of spending gold on NPC vendor materials, toys, mounts and other collectibles. When you spend your gold, the game is simply minusing that gold from the economy, thus emptying the bathtub. So if you think of the Blizzard devs as central bankers, adding items in the game for gold is the same as increasing the interest rates on loans and mortgages. They both take money out of circulation. In The War Within, we have two major gold sinks being introduced, one being the obvious new Warbound bank system with its unlockable tabs for raw gold. I believe the total amount to unlock all the tabs is 3.1 million gold per account. If everyone that had extra gold and wanted to unlock these bags, then it is a metric shit ton of gold leaving the economy. But let's be real, not everyone will do this, but of course a lot will. Oh, and the other item I noticed as a massive gold sink is the new engineer mount, which effectively costs around 3.1 million gold in raw mats to get it. In total, that's like 6.2 million gold potentially being drained from the game economy, only if people wish to do so. Okay, what does that mean for the game economy, you might ask? Well, if there is deflation in the economy, which is what I'm noticing, for example, the Sky Racing World Quests now net half the amount of gold and take longer to complete, we actually have evidence that Blizzard devs have their new interest rate / evergreen system being introduced, which they can tweak to control the money supply by the name of Delves. They can tweak the rewards from this instance content, which kinda resembles a mission table, but you have to actually put the work in to get the reward. This is also known as a proof of work concept. It does seem like the Blizzard devs really want to attack inflation in the game, mostly because it isn't fun for the player base. The main culprit are the botters. I see every action they do as a means to an end, with the intent to curb botting from the game by making it harder and harder to obtain gold. This is 100% what is happening in my honest opinion. Cool. So, if this is truly the case, then we can expect lower and lower expectations for gold making. We will still be making gold, but not as much gold as previous expansions would give us. This is great for goblins that have a fat stack of gold, because it means that the gold is going to have more value associated with it, and in turn, more purchasing power. It is now up to the Blizzard devs to implement more gold sinks to entice rich goblins to part with their gold. The two gold sinks I just mentioned with the mount and bank slots is totally pointed towards the rich goblins in the player base. In time, I believe we will see more and more gold sinks that are appealing to a small section of players. I have my hopes on player housing being a new evergreen system. Now that would be a massive gold sink for the game economy, and I very much look forward to it. If it ever happens, awesome, but for now we can only speculate. If you are still on the fence about gold sinks and my theory of what's happening within the game economy, then I would like to remind players that in Dragonflight, they introduced a gold sink under the guise of obtaining the old school transmogs from Naxxramas. It's to my knowledge that there was an NPC inside of Nax that allowed you to purchase items for raw gold, so then you could craft the items for people, but you still had to spend a bunch of gold for the privilege to do so. This gold sink targeted older players with a collection mindset and the intent to make gold from it. All these gold sinks are not targeted at new players. They are targeting older players, effectively the boomers of the WoW community, the ones with all the gold / wealth. Alright, so Goldson, what does this mean for me? Great question. It actually means a few things for everyone to take away from my little TED talk. It means that our effective gold per hour rates are to come down substantially, and we will have to come to terms with that instead of complaining that gold making is too hard. but you would be right. It is harder to make gold going forward. This I have no doubt. We all have to change our expectations on how to be an effective goblin within the market. The alternative is to bend the knee and fork out money for the token. That last sentence was directed to the ever-growing player base who doesn't consider the goblin side of the economy. They have the mindset of wanting everything now and for as little as possible kind of attitude. The whole, oh, it's just press a button, why should I have to pay more attitude, which I totally despise, to be honest. Anyways, I've been rambling on too much already. Just remember, if you have gold in the game and you don't spend it, then over time, once the gold trickles out of the economy, your purchasing power will go up. That is something to look forward to. I hope this video did not confuse my audience too much. I'd just like to point out my thoughts and opinions on gold sinks and why they are necessary and important. No one wants high prices and less income, either in the game world and in real life. And I bet we can all relate to the higher cost of living in the real world. There are many similarities from the game to reality, which in time I hope to portray in my videos. My goal long term is to make people realize and understand the fundamental principles of any economy and how to effectively make small meaningful choices to better themselves and their families. And that's the end of today's video. Have a good rest of your day and I'll catch you guys later. And remember, slow and steady always wins the race. Goldson out.